Check, 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 check. Okay, cool. So on episode 13, last episode, I had some stuff to actually talk about. Um, Especially in regards to the concept, like that concept of actually getting yourself lost into what the other person says and stuff like I genuinely believe like that stuff happens when like I definitely think that stuff happens when like you care about the person. Not even just when you care about the person, but when you also care about the topic. And it's like if you if you really care about something, uh chances are you're probably gonna, go off on it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like and to actually not do so is an actual skill. Like to not do so, man, you have to basically understand the fact that you like the integrity. You have to care about the integrity of the conversation over you making a point. Because if you actually want to have a conversation with somebody, you can't just go about like trying to be right. It's like this whole saying, which is like you can either be right in a conversation, uh, you can either win the conversation or win at the relationship. At growing and nurturing the relationship, and those two things are not mutual. Like they're not. You know what I'm saying? You can be right, or you can, you know, have a conversation with this person, and and to a degree, I'm a firm believer of this. Two individuals genuinely just have like can just understand each other. You know what I'm saying? So, truth be said, man, I feel like in conversations, and this is another thing too, which is like, you have to measure like how close you are to like not being so good in the conversation, because there comes a point where it's like I'm like, and I call it like a emotional endurance or stamina, right? Like having that emotional endurance and saying like, yo, I'm probably like, not only do I care about the subject, but two, I've been giving a lot in this subject to the point where it's like I've said the exact same thing that I've had to say, and I don't want to uh kind of beat the dead horse. And it's yeah, like it, like genuinely, and I guess if telling somebody, I'm like glitch, but telling somebody is like, yo, um telling somebody, yo, I'm done with the conversation. I can't say anymore. You know what I'm saying? I can't say anymore. Like I'm done. I'm like understanding how to tap out and when to tap out. That's everything. And for people who want to stick around and have the conversation, just walk away, because it's not. It's greatly, actually, it's very disrespectful to try to stick around and like be, try to poke at something that isn't necessarily going to be productive anymore. And so I think like on both ends, and that's just another thing too, which is like um understanding like and understanding your own emotional stamina and endurance. One, I believe, can also be depending on where you are in your life and your stress level and everything. um Man, it could depend on a whole bunch of stuff, right? And so if you're trying to figure that, if you're trying to like create a if you're trying to like if you're trying to actually like, and this is the other half, which is like if you're trying to like preserve the relationship, giving it the necessary nutrients is mad important. And so like not, I don't know, this it's a real thing. And like I've left conversations, when you done for the day and you just ain't got more to give, because then it's just like There's only like a certain amount of like reasonable energy that you actually have, and then the rest is just like horrible. And it's just like you don't want to give that to nobody. Um, and that's something that I've thought about as well, which is like, all right, well, if that's an important thing to understand because reputation is a very real thing. It's a very real thing. And you have to take care of it. And the best way to take care of your reputation has to be through understanding concepts like that, because it's like, and I love doing walks. I do walks on in the morning. I do about on average 2 to 3 walks and a day. And so what I'm trying to basically gauge during those walks is my emotional, where I'm at emotionally, right? I ask myself, yo, how do I authentically feel? And I go through that process in myself, like in my emotions, and I'm like, all right, this is how I feel. And then I do other practices as well, like I'm giving myself credit, right? Confidence is a very important thing to have, and I'm the type of person, I need encouragement, and so I give myself encouragement in the morning. And that's actually later on in the day, but in the morning I actually give myself like what's it called? I give myself a gratitude. Introduce some gratitude into the day, right? So like practicing gratitude every day is like, yo, like this type of stuff is important. And so when you can actually like and this kind of just goes off into a different realm, but to a degree, when you understand yourself emotionally, when you understand like where you personally are at, and like you understand how you not only how you feel, but you can gauge like you just have so much of an understanding behind your own emotional endurance, stamina, and agility, because that's a whole different topic. Emotional agility, right? Your ability to switch from one basically one frequency to the other, or one emotion to the other. uh I've seen females are way better at emotional agility. They can feel one way at one point and then feel another way at the other. Personally, I kind of my it takes a few more minutes for me, right? So and that's just everybody's emotional endurance, stamina, and agility are completely different. And that's a very important thing to have, especially if you're like talking or you're saying certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like and you're having a conversation where you have to understand the other person, and the other person can speak to you. Not only that, big tip, in the morning when you're doing your walks, it allows you to actually it allows other people to pour into you, because you've emptied out, especially in the morning. If you emptied out, and you can, obviously you don't want to do that if you have to speak throughout the rest of the day. But if you know do a little small amount just to kind of gauge where you are, that's a good amount. You don't want to like empty yourself out, just talk and every. But if you need that, that's the time to do it. Nonetheless, when it comes to once like those conversations, man, there's so much that I could go behind it. Like there's things like sophisticating yourself with the truth and equanimity, right? Like those two things are huge, and I could go off on that, man. Like, all right, so sophisticating yourself with the truth, what does that mean? So sophistication, my definition is able to work with others, period. That's it. Able to work with others. And so very similar to collaboration, although that's a whole different thing. Um, but not only able to work with others, able to work with yourself. So that's the vertical. And you have, all right, so sophisticating yourself with the truth. What does that look like? So if you're sophisticating yourself with the truth, um, not only are you having conversations with understanding what the truth actually is, right? That leads me to the second point, which is the authentic negative. So we'll finish with this one, go to the authentic negative, and then finish off with equanimity. Uh, Really good trifecta, honestly, and this might be a longer episode. So, uh, sophisticating yourself with the truth, right? So when you're sophisticating yourself with the truth, what's happening here is that your primary focus, and this is more for like personal development under the relationship realm, under health, wealth, and relationships. This is relationships. Uh, so you go ahead and you're like, okay, um, what is the truth, right? In every circumstance, you kind of just go through it, and it's fine. Like, and then this is the part where I think people are actually very scared to kind of be wrong. You don't have to be, because if you're wrong, that's the truth. So you're already a step ahead, right? So if you're wrong, that's the truth. You did a good job, right? And if you can tell, even better. And so you go on to the next step, which is like, all right, well, what is the truth? And then the sophistication with the truth comes when you integrate it, and then you move on from there. Super simple concept, not that deep, honestly. It's just very interesting, and especially when you're applying it in day to day life, it's like, oh, in this conversation, whatever it is, practice just understanding what is real, and understanding, like, and a prime practice for this is understanding, like, you know, uh, what is real for you. If you can understand what is real for you, um, you've got the first half of it, everything else set, and then you can kind of fill in the rest. Okay, so what else? You have uh, the the authentic negative. All right, so this comes from a conflict that I used to have, where uh, I used to think, like, when I would receive when somebody would tell me something that I am doing wrong, I would think about it as criticism. And that would dude, that would cripple me so badly in conversations, because I wouldn't be able to I wouldn't be able, like, I mean, this is basically, I would be like, oh, like, this is, I'm just basically being told that I can't do anything right again, right? And that's horrible. And really, it's like, it like knocks at this hole in the back of my gut, that just tells me, you can't do anything right. So back to the authentic negative, where this comes in, is where now when I hear these things, I hear testimonials, right? So it's a testimonial that the other person is basically saying. So for example, the person, they go ahead and they say, all right, well, hey, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, or this, that, and the other, so on and so forth, all that, and they're going off and they're saying this, right? Instead of it looking at it like a critic, seeing it as a testimonial means, well, this person is just telling me a testimonial based on their reality. They're telling me the other half of the truth, which you can kind of put with the sophistication with the truth concept, right? Where it's like, all right, well, this person is now saying their half of the truth. They're saying what is going on with them, so on and so forth. And it does not, what that person says, and this is the big part, does not invalidate your truth. Does not. Absolutely does not. Where you take it in and you internalize it, and you begin to think, oh, back at the hole inside my gut that says I'm not enough. No, your truth is your truth. Their truth is their truth. And by you, and this is where the authentic negative comes in, by you stating truthfully, not only what your intentions were, but more importantly than that, you know, just your other half, and not in an argumentative way, because 100%. And this is the other part, where it's like, you having these conversations, having these conversations, having these conversations, uh, right as they happen, that's a big mistake. You need room, you need space for both parties to kind of calibrate themselves, and come and actually do this, because otherwise you're back to a heated conversation. So you go ahead, and you state your half. You state, hey, I thought this would work for you. Guess not, right? You don't even have to put in that other half, but I thought this would work for you. Period. Right? It's your truth. It's what you said you would say. It's what you said, and that's it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So because it's your authentic truth, I call it the authentic negative, because you are actively saying uh what you thought would work, right? And um this is kind of the opposite of what internalizing it and being like, oh, I'm sorry, so on and so forth, and going towards apologizing. Truthfully, good chances are your intentions weren't, malicious. So I'm not basically, uh your intentions weren't malicious. State what you were actually trying to do, And if the person needs an apology to move on with their life, give it to them. Honestly, it's like, bro, that's basically what I'm saying. The authentic truth is based on the authentic negative is based on stating your half, and it helps you and that other person get to a closer north star where you can both say, "Oh," and that's a beautiful place to be at, right? And you can't be mad. So the last part, which is equanimity. Equanimity here is equanimity here states that you are speaking to the other person. You are speaking to the other person. Um, you're speaking to the other person uh, as if they were you, a younger version of you, right? And there's a lot of healing that can happen through this. You're also on equanimity with equanimity. You're also under the understanding that with the things that you say to the other person affect them. And not only do they affect them, they affect you. Because when you leave the conversation, you're probably thinking about what you said, right? So, uh, they affect you, and so you have equanimity, uh, not even just for the other person. You have that. You have equanimity for yourself. Because ultimately it's gonna come back, and you give it your best shot. You apply as much equanimity as you can. Uh, and it just sounds like, hey, like it really just sounds like you're taking care of a younger version of you, um, that has issues and has problems and has this whole life going on, and you're just helping them out, as you can. And so those are the main three. Those are the main three, and in a conversation, those things can help tremendously, man. Like, yeah, man, like those things can help a lot. Those things can help a lot. I'll go over them again, which is uh, sophisticating yourself with the truth. I recommend for absorbing content and stuff like that. Jordan Peterson, great for like that type of stuff. You can look up the big five traits, like personality traits. That'll really really get like it's just really cool. And I when it comes to his content, like uh that's kind of the overall like standing that I usually get from his content is like sophisticating yourself with the truth, and I love that. I genuinely love that concept. Uh, the one on the top, the authentic negative. Um, you can look up. How do I say this? Because it's in a way of like testimonials. I guess you can look up because you usually look at like these court videos, and in the court videos, there's like two people kind of barking at each other. That's at the heat of the moment where the person is they're very unable to actually put. And this is the thing too, if you're depending on who you're speaking to, if the person actually has um the emotional intelligence to actually have that type of conversation. um the best guidance I can say is, you know for this one, just use the word testimonial. uh don't even use the authentic negative, just use testimonial. Because now you're switching what used to be criticism into testimonials, and you're healing. Like you're pretty much healing a very important part of you that needs it. Um, that really needs it. So, uh, yeah. And then the last part is equanimity. I definitely recommend Thich Nhat Hanh. Um, he talks about this in his book, the Art of Communication. It's really good. And that's it. That's it. Kudos to you for watching this, because you are caring about how you're caring about the relationships in your life, and you want them to get better. Good job. Uh and lastly, if you are the kind of person that wakes up early in the morning and experiences how cold it actually can be when you wake up. And you definitely want to stay in bed because it's cold. Check out the link in the bio, in the description, show notes, whatever it's called. Get yourself a hoodie. Um, it's a great way to support the channel as well as get your butt up in the morning. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.